Crossroads fans know that we love to get off the interstate, and our next story fits the bill. If you haven't been, the town of Granville in Jackson County is a perfect weekend visit. Known as Tennessee's own Mayberry, it's got something new, a collection that is the largest of its kind in the world.
Our story is a follow-up to and a combination of two old Crossroads stories. One on the Pioneer Village, which is found here in town, historic Granville, and the other a Joe Elmore story about a man who collected Jim Beam whiskey decanters. That collection has found its way here to Granville and helped create what is now the largest collection of whiskey decanters in the world. There was a time when Randall Clemens didn't know a thing about whiskey decanters, though that's changed. Randall does know everything there is to know about the town of Granville, a place where you find a simpler life, slower pace, and quiet pleasures. He was born and raised here, was head of the local bank for years, and continues to volunteer as president of the historic Granville Museum.
We are a town of yesteryear that has been preserved and restored, and it has that Mayberry feel to it, where you can walk down the street, everybody knows everybody, and we've become a major tourist attraction because we have 10 different venues.
Whether it's the general store, its Saturday night bluegrass shows, the Lucy Museum, or any of the others in town, Clover Street is the street to visit when you come here. Rob Wilds featured Granville's Pioneer Village a while back, a place to see olden craft skills still taking place. But the newest attraction in Granville exists thanks to a Joe Elmore story.
We actually got interested in it because of a friend of Mr. Barrett's giving us the Tennessee Crossroads show, and we watched it and began our journey with decanters.
Back in 2019, Joe featured a man named Charles Barrett. A Church of Christ preacher, he didn't drink, but he had a Smithsonian-level collection of Jim Beam decanters. Thousands of them, collected over 30 years. After his wife passed, Mr. Barrett began looking for a home for his collection. But the town of Granville wasn't interested at first.
Didn't realize the work of art that they actually are until we went to Mr. Barrett's home and saw the wonderful collection he had and the passion that he had for keeping his collection together. And he was such an invaluable asset on his knowledge, as well as he moved every decanter that you see here today and helped us place it.
Liz Bennett, also born in Granville, is also a volunteer and gives tours of the museum. She says these decanters are much more than a vessel for whiskey.
It's an art museum. The name on the windows say Decanter Museum, Jim Beam whiskey decanters. But actually, when you walk in here, you realize that you're in an art museum. All of the decanters are porcelain, or most of them are porcelain. It is the largest collection of registered, hand-painted, limited edition decanters in the world.
Decanters became a thing in the early 50s to help boost lagging sales of bourbon, created more for the container than the contents.
That's Elvis and the Hound Dog.
So this is your favorite. Barrett's collection isn't what made the museum the world's biggest. It took adding a second collection to do that.
And he had a friend in Cookville by the name of Joe Miller that he had become friends over collecting decanters. Mr. Miller saw what had happened to Mr. Barrett's collection, and he wanted the same to happen to his.
We were invited to go visit Joe and Gussie Miller in their home. And I've never seen anything like it. We thought we had seen decanters when we saw all of Mr. Barrett's collection. But then when you saw the diversity in Mr. Miller and Gussie's collection, it was just so different. So it made us kind of think, yeah, that would be nice to have that.
Charles Barrett talked a generous patron into donating funds to expand the museum and get all 5,000 decanters in the building. Now they represent everything and everyone. cars, trains, telephones, animals, political parties, even college football.
They tell a story. What I tell people is, regardless of what your passion in life is, you're going to find a decanter in here that represents that. And they're a work of art.
Once people come, they're just blown away. They can't believe. And the most common thing we hear is just what we heard from you. Are you sure whiskey was in these things?
Made by the Ski Country Company, the Majestic Eagle decanter is the largest one ever made, weighing in at 14 pounds, empty. It holds a gallon of liquid sunshine. And this 1964 Jim Beam decanter is one of only 117 made.
In fact, Jim Beam doesn't even have this, and they have tried to purchase this from us. But Mr. Barrett says it belongs here in Granville.
So you turn them down.
That's right. That's right.
While these decanters are now dry, they at least have a home where anyone can visit to appreciate the beauty, artistry, and some history too. Mark Twain wrote, "Too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough." Too many whiskey decanters in Granville? Barely enough.
How did you like the story? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you enjoyed it, we have a lot more where that came from. Here's one you might like, and please click here to subscribe so you'll know when we premiere new videos. Thanks for watching.